You also, I was listening to your interview there, and you said that one good thing from your, your mates from school is that they didn't change the way they treat you. Who changed? Everyone?
Well, I would say no. I wouldn't say everyone. I
But
think
you felt that people
I
change.
felt I felt some people change. Also people that you don't hear for a while. Suddenly, they come back. But yeah, I think most of the people, and that was what I really appreciate. Most people, especially those one who are close to me, they didn't really change the way they treat me, and also they've been really supportive, and that's super nice. And you know, what's really good as well with my mates is that no matter how the weekend goes, they're always gonna be there, and they're always gonna be supportive, and they're gonna treat me the same way, whether I have a good weekend or a bad weekend. So when I go home, I always enjoy spending time with them because I know, they're still gonna be happy to see me and everything. So I feel very lucky because of that.
I was, during all these years covering Formula One, usually I ask people who became super famous all of a sudden, and then I ask this: who brings you back, to earth? Who's not treating you like a god and saying, okay, you still. And then I remember Louis said, my father, like you still
Oh
the
yeah,
kid. And who do you think in your family is going to be like this when you become? You are already famous, but more famous.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. When people, because obviously, people also, some people change and they treat you like, as you said, like a
God.
superhero,
Yeah.
and can happen that sometimes you lose a bit the focus just because you have so many people treating you well, cheering for you, and also yeah, like you said, treating you like a superhero. So there was my dad and my mom my dad comes into action and bring me back to earth.
Like
It's
what?
yeah, it's like,
Andy,
and yeah,
basta.
basta. It tells me you're not focused enough. Go back to work, and because at the end of the day, it's yeah, obviously popularity increased a lot with the F1, and especially I can feel sometimes it's really easy to lose the focus, with the fame and everything. But luckily, I have a good family behind me, I have a good team behind me, but there's always my dad there. Because he understands when I'm like losing the focus, because obviously he knows me so well. So it's really good to have him, because every time he makes me realize when I'm maybe losing my way a little bit. So then I can go back and refocus myself and be able to perform.
When do you feel like you have to talk to your mother? La mama.
La Mama is more about personal life. Dad is more about racing.
Okay.
Mom is a lot about personal life. I mean, when I need to speak about personal life, I don't really go to my dad, but I go to my mom, because my mom is a lot very supportive on that side, and the mom is the mom. She.
Like if she calls you, you pick it up right away.
Yeah, exactly. No, but with my parents in general, I think every time they call me, I also try to call them every day, just for a quick chat, because I don't get to spend much time with them,
Yeah.
and I also want to enjoy as much as possible the time with them. So it's very important as well to do these kind of things, because it's time goes by quick, and I don't really want to miss out on spending time with my parents.
Kimi, about this whole world here, I know I've been seeing you since last year around here,
Yeah.
but about this Formula One world, what really surprises you? Something that when you arrive here as a driver, you go like, what? I didn't know you had that, or something like this, something that really you got by surprise.
Well, You mean when I got
As
here?
a driver, yeah, as a driver, walking around, I don't know if so many people, I don't know.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
data, I have no idea.
I
Food.
think I think everything, the environment is a lot different already when you walk into the F1 paddock, seeing so many people, seeing all the hospitalities, seeing everything being perfect, it's quite impressive. And then also when you walk into the garage, seeing so many people working on my car and so many people working on both cars is it's quite impressive. And seeing also the amount of engineers that are behind the car, also when the car is on track, all the people that are at the factory that they tune during the session just to help out the team on track. So it's impressive, the whole environment it changed. And also the intensity that you have to keep during the weekend is quite incredible. The level of intensity, not only when you're driving, but also when you get out of the car, because your feedback as well about the car needs to be really accurate, because it can really help the team throughout the weekend to improve the car. So the level of intensity, and also the way you have to be so detailed about what you do, it's incredible. And that's what really impressed me during the race weekend. And so yeah, but I mean, when I first walked in Melbourne, I was like, this doesn't feel real, seeing so many cameras. So it's definitely a new environment that I'm getting used to, but it's also, you also understand why F1 is so special as well, because the level of detail and so many people that work around F1, not only the teams but also you guys with the media, all the work that everyone puts behind is pretty special. So yeah.
Amy, yeah, I remember your first interview when you were presented with Toto and Russell, and I did the first question. And I remember it was very easy question, just for you to start, and you blushed all of a sudden. You were like, super red, and it was not a difficult question. Were you like feeling a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty shy person, so because all this is so new to me, I feel a bit shy about it, So because I'm a shy person, initially I struggled to talk in front of a lot of people, So that's why I became red.
There was a lot of people there.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I became red, because I'm shy, and I need a little bit of time to get the confidence. But also, I mean, this is part of the job, and it's really important as well to do a good job on this side. So every time I talk with more confidence, also because I get to know all of you as well, and also I get to have a relationship as well. So also it kind of knowing that I have a relationship with the person and that I know the person, it kind of relaxes me. So every time I talk to them, I feel better. But yeah, that first time I was quite nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
I remember. So it's so poor him.
No, I tell you this funny story. I was in Mercedes in Brackley, and at one point they tell me, "Oh, you need to go to the race space," and I was like super confused. And then I walk into the race space and I see all the people from the factory in this massive room, and I needed to do like a Q&A in front of them. And I was like, when I saw that,
And you didn't know that.
well, I knew, but I forgot. So when I walked in, I walked immediately back out, and I told the guy, "What is this? Like, why is there's like a microphone and so many people out there?" And we're like, "Oh, you need to talk in front of all the factory." And I was like, I remember I was so nervous, like my voice was actually shaking initially. Then it kind of got better to it. But yeah, that was a funny story.
You're known to have a super good memory. I saw that thing of knowing all your quality time.
Most of them, yeah.
From last year's or 2 years, 3 years?
Well, depends.
3 years?
I remember also a couple of times I did in karting.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. So throughout until arriving karting.
Yeah.
Now that you have loads of more data to consider, do you also have all this in your mind or not?
Well, it's it's a bit more difficult. I'm not gonna lie, because yeah, definitely another thing that impresses me is all the amount of data information that you get not only in the car, but also especially when you get out of the car. So you have so many tools, so many data that you can look. So definitely, it's a bit harder because there's already an infinity of information that are going through my head. But I still try to keep a little bit of memory for the lap times, just to keep the consistency. You know, I don't wanna. I still wanna remember lap times because they're really important to me.
Right.
So I will always try to keep a bit of memory because for that.
Like if I ask you lap time from Australia,
My lap time or Paul lap time?
no, your time.
My time. So I did a 16.4.
Okay. And if I ask a year before,
The
in
year
F1
in F2,
F2,
I did a 29.0.
okay. Anyways, I'm not even going to check. And do you, like, okay, you have all this data on your head and the things that you have to analyze
Yeah.
and be very precise and be systematic.
Yeah.
And what do you think it comes just by instinct on the driving? Do you think you learn quick or?
I think the instinct is something I try to rely a lot on, because when you go in the car you don't want to be overthinking. You just want to drive the car as fast as you can. So definitely, being able to trust your instinct and rely on it is really important. And when you do that as well, you kind of get into that zone where you're driving unconsciously. So you're like in in that zone that you're not even thinking about what you're doing. Like it's like autopilot. So
In every race you feel that?
most of them. It's mainly when the level of intensity is really high and the focus is fully there. So and also driving by instinct, it can really help you as well sometimes to learn a track. You know, to learn a track in a faster way, of course. So it's something I really rely on as well. But also, it's something that I use in my personal life as well. It's not that I use only in racing.
Like what? Could you give me an example?
Well, especially when I need to take some decisions. Obviously, I think about the possible outcomes, but then also trust my instinct on the decision.
When
Yeah,
you feel that.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, especially when it's a difficult decision. As I said before, I think about the possible outcome of both decisions, but also a lot of it comes from the instinct of what it will make me feel better.
And learning a track is when you said it's easily to learn quicker the track.
Yeah, I think when.
How do you do it?
Well, the thing is, when you drive, I feel like when I drive trusting my instinct, I also have more confidence while driving the car. So I'm able to reach the limit a lot quicker. So because if you drive, I feel like sometimes happen to me when I drive, especially when I'm overthinking, then also there might be the factor of the fear of going off and that kind of stuff. And there, it's you're not able to express your potential. But when I feel that I drive relying a lot on my instinct, so then I'm not thinking about anything else other than just drive, I'm able to reach the limit much quicker.
So how did you face your first time in Formula One that you went out of the track? How did you face that?
It's definitely was quite a change. My personal life changed as well with F1, but also with F1, I have a lot more commitment outside the track. So it's something I needed to adapt to. But also thanks to Mercedes, last year I kind of prepared myself to it, so I knew what kind to expect out of the year.
No, I was more asking about when you were for the first time on a Formula One,
Oh, okay, okay.
and then you got out of
Ah,
the
okay,
track.
okay,
How
sorry,
did you
sorry.
see that?
Oh, I mean, it was a pretty special moment, and in that moment, my very first time in the car, I think that was a moment where I was like pure instinct. That was a moment because obviously there was a lot of excitement, but in that moment I remember I was just trying to enjoy, just trying to enjoy it, explore the car, and yeah, trying to drive as fast as I could.
And at the end, when you went out, and then
I mean,
how did you see that it was too much instinct, or you were
yeah,
overthinking, or
no, I think in that was a moment where it's like it was a bit too much, because I remember that time, I was feeling fearless. I felt like, I was untouchable. I could do whatever I want with the car. It was like absolute pushing, and I was feeling great in the car, and it was all coming supernatural, and that was the time I was like full instinct, like, uh, but then obviously I went over the edge, and this kind of hurt my confidence as well,
yeah,
because it kind of, in the moment, in that period, kind of defined me as well, because it never happened to me. I didn't have such a crash. It was my first real
really?
crash in a car.
Alright, okay.
So in all my years in a single seater,
Yeah,
I had like couple of very like little crashes, and this was like a first proper crash.
okay.
So it was like a shock for me, because I never thought it would have happened, you know,
And
um, and it kind of hurt my confidence. And that in that period, I struggled to rely on my instinct as much. I was more overthinking. I was like, oh, in this corner I cannot push too much because then if I go off, there's a high risk that I hit the wall. So it was like I felt like I was kind of held back by these thoughts, and I wasn't able to express my potential. So, and it took a lot of time. I feel still now, like in sometime I still overthink too much, and this kind of hold my potential, and I'm not able to express what I can really do on track because of these thoughts. So I would say now, because what I'm really trying is to have just clean weekends, so I can regain that state, that status, and then I can fully express my potential.
Kimi, when you were talking like this, I was remembering one interview of Ayrton Senna when he said something like this, when he just drove by instinct
Yeah.
without even thinking,
Yeah.
especially in Monaco.
Yeah.
And I know that you're a fan of
Yeah.
him. Have you seen any of his races on,
Oh yeah, many.
So, yeah, which one really marks you? Or is there any moment that you said, this is a genius?
Well, I think there's so many moments. I think Donington 1993, that was an incredible race. Also the way he did the fastest lap by going into the pit lane. Back then when there was no speed limit, was pretty incredible. But so it's Monaco pole lap. I think also what really impresses me is 1989 was a really difficult year for him for what happened, and the determination he came back with was pretty incredible, and also the way he performed that season was pretty special despite what happened to him the previous year, and also seeing how much it affected, because obviously it was, it's been a really tough moment for him personally. So the way he came back was pretty special after that year. So there's so many moments. Also it's Monaco 1984 with the Toleman. So many great memories. Also 91 Brazil with when he was stuck in 6th gear. I mean, looking at the onboard, that looked freaking difficult, to drive. Super physical as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see
You
after
could
the
see
race,
after
he,
the race,
he
yeah,
even passed
exactly.
out because of the physical effort. So, I think he was so special because every time he was on track, he was, giving emotions, and it was just, you could see how special he was.
And just to finish, I know that my time is running out. I just want to know that story about you going to the grid inside of a tire. Or tell me that story, please.
So I was at the F1 Grand Prix in Hockenheim, 2014.
You were? How
I
old
was
were you?
I was 8.
Okay.
So my dad was there with his own team because we were doing the support race with the Porsche Cup.
Ah, for sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to go in the pit lane for the Porsche Cup session, but obviously I was too little and they wouldn't allow me. So back then I was really tiny in terms of height. Like, it's not that I'm super tall now, but
No, but you're
yeah,
so.
I was very tiny.
Ah.
So basically I could fit inside the tire. I was so tiny that I could fit inside the tire. So my dad said, well, we're gonna try to sneak you in. So basically I was inside this trolley, inside these tires, and we even put an umbrella on top just not to look too suspicious. And then I went back in, and there's this picture I'm gonna show you later if I find
Okay.
it. That I was there with sunglasses, my notebook, taking notes, and I was inside these tires.
Taking notes?
Yeah, I was taking notes. So yeah.
What did you wrote?
I don't remember.
Don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah, so
Love this story.
with this umbrella on top, and was a pretty funny story. And I got in eventually.
See?
Yeah.
And nowadays,
No, nowadays.
that must be.
Well, now I don't need luckily.
Yeah, thank God.
But yeah,
You don't have to go. You go inside something different there.
yeah. Also, I wouldn't fit in the tire anymore.
Yeah,
now.
probably
No,
not.
Exactly.